Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me in the craft room today. This is updates where I talk to you once a week about what's going on in the craft room and show you what I'm up to. If you're new here, just roll with me. It's sort of like a process video, definitely not a tutorial, but maybe a process video because I show you where I was last week on the project and then bring you along. Let me walk you through this because I have a lot to show you today. I sewed together 5 journals. Last weekend in updates, I told you that I had 4 pending and it turned out to be 5. I added this one. I have not filmed flip throughs because I'm not sure, am I done? Things like this keep coming up where I made some envelopes, so let me show you those. Last night I was sitting around watching TV with Mr. Crafting and Relaxing and snuggling with Sadie, and I made these little tiny envelopes. These were 3-inch squares. I do have a scoreboard and should have I might actually try and use it, but I just made a couple from 3-inch paper and then found one I liked and used it as my template. A while ago, you saw that I made some blue ones, I think, for Joy of Blue, maybe it was. So I saved this one. The paper is a little thicker than the ones I was working with. And this is my template, which is really handy because most of what I'm working with right now is Christmas. So this stands out. I did lose my pin with the red ribbon on it. So I had to switch to a different pin this week, but we'll see how that goes. Oh, so I shut the door and Tiny Cat doesn't seem to like it. Okay, so these, just a fun thing to make while you're watching TV. I did ink the edges a little bit just because I like this flap to stand out and show. So those are going to go probably in some journals, and then I don't know what else. I don't think I'll use them on any cards. They're a great way to use up scraps. They're cute to make embellishments. You can decorate them up more and then put them up. I mean, still, it would be cute on a card, right? As a fun little accent. You can use them on journal pages. You can put pieces of paper in them, whatever you want. And they're fun to make. I don't think I showed you these. As I've been working through my scraps and processing them, and I'll tell you how I'm doing that with all the Christmas stuff, I've been making cards. Sitting around watching TV at night, making cards. And I'm using paper that maybe I don't love, or it was a scrap that was 4 inches wide by 5 1/4 for the back layer, and then scraps over it. And then this one, I had stamped this out when I made a card before, and it's just too cute, so I had to use it. I might have to make more of those. Christmas wishes and scraps. Season's greetings was a cut apart, and these plaid backgrounds were sitting around from last year when I opened up my bins. So I just chopped down the 3x4 cards that came in the paper collection as small as I could get them. I didn't want them 3x4, but I didn't want to chop off the flowers. Christmas wishes, again, scraps and ephemera. Coming to town, Santa Claus is coming to town. Merry Christmas is a sticker on top of a scrap card. So just trying to use those things up. And some of these I made as I was working on other challenges just because the stuff was in the way. I have die cut a couple of trucks. I'm going to find the little piece that goes in the back. There's like a fancy thing, and put that together. I had Happy Mail. Look at this. Kathleen is tricky. She had a chunky embellishment on here, and to protect it, she used a cotton pad. And look, I mean, it was a big dent, but it went through, protected it. Super sweet. Thank you so much, Kathleen. I appreciate your thoughts. And look at this one. This is from our friend Letty, who we know as Party Planner Papery. That's a hard one, Letty, I tell you. Look at the stamp, you guys. Beach. Best escape anyone can have. You know, I've been running off to the beach lately, and I just thought that was great. And look at this background. She's got some shimmer and some embossing on there, or maybe some like liquid pearls or Nuvo drops. Very cool. Super fun idea. And then glossy accents on the sunglasses. Love it. So sweet. Thank you, Letty. Okay, then today, before I ran away to the beach again with Mr. Crafting and Relaxing this time, and we just day tripped it, it was fun, I made a bunch of bases. Now, here's what I did. These are not the same paper collection. These were my 12-inch scrap bin from making journals. And remember when I said that if you make your journal pages 8 inches, then you'll have a 4-inch strip at the bottom to make cards. So this is where I'm circling back and starting those cards. And I always talk to you about making your items in order of size. So if I have a bunch of paper in a pile or a brand new collection or whatever it is, I'm going to make my journals first because they're the biggest. Then I'm going to go to cards, and then I'm going to use other things. Those envelopes were a cheap, thin paper that was perfect for envelopes. That's why I peeled those off and made those already. But card bases, I went through, this one wasn't quite 4 inches, but I like it. I went through and took all the 4-inch. I just found the 4-inch pieces of paper, cut them at 5 1/4. Now they're pretty much all horizontal cards because I had the strip that was 4 inches long when I took off the journal page. So you're not going to get as much variety in your cards this way, but it's a very efficient use of pattern paper because you're using every bit. So I went through my solid scraps for decades, right? And I took everything out of that bin that was green. There was only one red piece in there, so I didn't chop it up yet. I got out a bunch of neutrals that I made a genealogy album, oh my gosh, 15, 20, 25 years ago with this paper. I'm sick of it. So I went through and prepped a bunch of these. Now, I don't know what's going to go on these. Am I going to put a truck here and a die that says Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas? I have no plan. What I do know is these papers needed to be used, and I'm preparing for a craft fair. So I'm just using stuff up. This does not speak to me. This is a piece of paper that I would put in a package and give away in my Facebook free group or something like that. So I thought, well, I'll try and make a card with it for the craft fair. I'm clearing things out, and it's really kind of fun and freeing. So that's what I'm doing. I'm processing through my scrap bins, and I have a couple of categories. I have this one. These are just Dollar Tree containers from several years ago, so I don't know if they still have them, but this one holds 12-inch. This one was my 8-inch strips for journals, so if I wanted to make tuck spots on pages. And then this one, I kept putting journal cards and pockets in. And so I have things here that might be sentiments for the front of a card, or they might go into a journal if I make another one, which I'm trying to process more of these scraps before I make more. If I knew exactly how many journals I was going to have, and I had a crystal ball, and I knew I wasn't going to be too busy at work, or I was going to have plenty of time, maybe I would say, okay, I'm going to make a dozen journals, and then I'm going to deal with all those scraps. But the reality of it is that would overwhelm me. You guys reminded me 8 was too many. And I think I like this way. It's helping me use up papers that I'm not in love with. I mean, some of these, like this one is maybe a 3-inch strip and it's an authentique collection. I will probably adapt my card idea a little bit so that I can use this for cards because I do like it. This red polka dot is great. It's just kind of a weird red, so I wanted to wait. And then on the back, it has the sloths. And again, it's not a really wide strip, but it's just too cute. I think I can make it work. Those are the things that I think I've made since last week. Sadie's new bed came, and she used it a little, and she has a lot of things to tell you about. We were gone for like 5 hours today, and she didn't get fed for 5 hours. It was the worst thing in the world. Yeah. I'm hoping that when you see this video, you think, oh, there wasn't all that space last week. This stuff I just got out to show you. I have some thin papers down here at the end that I was thinking I might make envelopes out of. They're pretty cute though, so maybe cards. I don't know, I haven't decided, but I pulled out the thin ones. Then there's some thicker ones here. And again, you can make envelopes with anything you want, but I love thin papers for it because I don't like to use thin papers as much for cards, and because they just fold so nice. You don't have to fight with them. I still have tons of stickers right there and all sorts of things that I could sit around and chop up for sentiments for cards. And then this is one other container that I've been using. As I was making cards and I stamped extra images, that was for Smash That Small Paper Pad. You can go back and see that video if you want. I made a bunch of cards, but I had some extra Merry Christmas stamped out. And then as I was making journals and I went through the sticker sheets and different things, when I found things that I wasn't going to put in a journal, I knew I wasn't going to put have a very Merry Christmas this holiday season in a journal. That's a great card sentiment. So I put it in here, and it actually got a little thin because I've put a bunch of cards together. So what I'll do is I'll take some of these little trays or categories or a bunch of these card fronts and this bin and maybe some scraps. I have another box floating around here that's small pieces of solid color cardstock. It's great for die cutting. So I'll just take some of those and a tray and some glue and go in the front room and watch TV with Mr. Crafting and Relaxing and see what happens. You've seen me, sometimes I take all of these and I'll lay them out on the table or the counter and then just go, this one looks good with these colors. Probably even came with that paper collection. I like that. The Merry Christmas is on cream paper. This is cream paper. Those could go together. I just lay them out and move them around. Ideally, if you glue things together and have no plan, it's nice if you do them all and lay them out, and maybe don't be in a rush to glue things down. Work on 5 or 6 of them and move things around and see what you like. In fact, these card bases will even fit right in this box because they're not full size yet. So those are things I'm working on. I do not have plans to start anything on Sunday. I am still hoping to maybe fold up one of these tables. And as I go and I find cute papers like this, I've been putting them away and thinking, I don't think I want to use this for craft fair stuff. So I've been trying to move that out of the way. I thought after crafting for a craft fair for, what has it been, like 2 weeks, I would have more things used up, but I still have a really long way to go. Down here, I have, my friend Beth on Bourbon Creek Crafts. You've seen her make these cards that are like a starburst type thing, sunburst maybe, where you have a bunch of slices of scraps and then you put your sentiment here. And I saw one on Instagram the other day too and thought, I need to make some of those. So I was chopping up some of my scraps. I'll make some of those. All of these card fronts and these, I'm going to focus on not stamping more images and hopefully not die cutting too much, but using a lot of these stickers up. Maybe some of this cute chipboard, except I do have a lot of paper that goes with this chipboard, so I'm probably not pushing to use this. But really trying to use some of this stuff up and thin it out. And part of that is because a lot of these products are things that my friend Noni and I have found, maybe we wouldn't buy them again. So as you're watching me do all this, don't run out and think, oh my gosh, I have to have all this pattern paper and print it. No, you don't, because you can entertain yourself for days with a couple of stamps. Then I also have tons of cool ephemera and things. I spent one evening in bed fussy cutting Winnie the Pooh stuff, which I am a giant Winnie the Pooh fan. Did you guys know that? When we adopted Pooh Bear, all of my old friends thought I named her. They thought it was hilarious and that I named her. And she came that way. I mean, it definitely helped her get adopted into my household, but it was her name. So I have tons of things in here, and I'm just going to keep trying to use stuff up, especially the non-traditional papers that have the pink in them. This paper collection where Santa has pink accents, no, thank you. And move that stuff along and thin it out. And the craft fair is still a month away, but I do need to start thinking about like pricing and packaging and all that because I'm a craft fair rookie. And I cleaned up that counter over there a little bit last weekend, but it's not great. And then you can see there is a spot on that one to film. So there's hope. I might film the journal flip throughs this weekend, Sunday, but I might just keep making. And what I'm trying to do is thin the scraps and keep thinning the scraps. And I think I'm doing pretty well. I'm definitely getting there. Smaller pieces. These, I can do a lot of those starburst, sunburst cards with. They're all cut the same way though. The paper is vertical and that doesn't always work, but you can use the other side sometimes. Some of them are double-sided. I think that is all that Sadie and I have to tell you about right now. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're taking time for crafting and relaxing. And this crazy little old lady has clearly gotten her second wind for today. She'll run around for a while and then take a 5-hour nap. We're kind of like that though too, aren't we? Do you guys craft in spurts? I will be back soon with Joya Blue because I did work on Joya Blue. I just haven't showed you. That comes out on the 12th, and then I have an idea for Basic Gray on the 18th too, but you haven't seen that project yet. Thanks for watching. I hope you're taking time for crafting and relaxing. Bye-bye.